Today we have a w-OLED versus QD OLED gaming video. SDR versus HDR. What's the difference between the LG 27GS95QE versus the MAG and MPG series from MSI? I personally have been using these gaming monitors for a while now, and I want to showcase the differences to help you make that awesome buying decision. Everything is not what it seems, as both of these monitors have strengths and weaknesses. Starting right off with SDR mode. Just so you're aware, the LG monitor on the left does have the automatic brightness limiter, while the MSI QD OLED on the right does not have that enabled in SDR mode. What is ABL? The screen decreases in brightness with the wider the window, with more pixels that are lit up. So the brighter the image, the dimmer the picture. So in SDR mode, the LG can achieve a higher brightness, versus the MSI's MAG MPG series, which hovers around 260 nits. You will not be able to go higher in SDR mode. We will get to HDR mode later in the video, when things take a turn. But for now, I am gonna pause a couple of scenes, so you can see what I'm talking about. Right away on the LG on the left, everything looks deeper and brighter. The whites pop more. And like I said, on the right, the max in SDR mode hits around 260 nits. This is a peak highlight in SDR mode. You can easily see the LG takes the win. Everything is brighter, looks more three-dimensional than the MSI monitor. This is a more lit up scene, and while yes, the highlights win on the LG monitor, the MSI monitors have a secret weapon. Many don't talk about this gaming feature that's very important, and I use it in my Versus videos because I want to show you that impact, the overall picture of brightness, color, and shadow detail. But here look at the LG, the moon, the highlight from the torch are brighter versus the MSI. But nothing beats color pop, that color difference of the color vibrance of QD OLED. It is superior to w-OLED, so make no mistake, even though the LG can get brighter in this scene, the color volume, that color pop, looks better on the MSI, even being at a lower brightness level. But look at the tree here on the LG. It's very hard to see. I do have the black stabilizer here at 50, but I wanted to show you. Yes, the MSI has that feature also, but on the MSI on the right, I do have night vision enabled on the lowest preset. And as you can see, it lifts the total scene without washing out the picture. Now if you enable night vision with the other settings on high, yes, you will wash out the picture. It's kind of like a black stabilizer to see your enemies in the shadows, you know what I mean? But in a scene like this, with a lot of color, in a dark scene, you don't want to go too high because you want to keep that contrast. So just something to point out, if you have the MAG or MPG series, or any QD OLED from MSI, try night vision. Even on the lowest setting, it gives the total image an increase in brightness. Overall visual clarity of the shadow, you're going to really love that feature. And more people need to talk about things like this. I personally own these monitors. I game on them, I do switch them out week to week, so I can tell you what the real differences are. So try night vision on any of these monitors. That's that extra level of detail that MSI gives you. I'm picking out this game to show you that lamp difference. That is huge. That shows the limit of the MSI QD OLED on the right of 260 nits, while the LG can go to 400 plus. This is all in SDR mode. So if you really only want to use SDR, because I know many of you can't use HDR, either it's broken in your Windows version or for your next generation consoles. Because yes, this does pertain to the Xbox and PlayStation 5. What you're seeing here is the same thing that's going to happen when you play on console or a media streaming device in SDR mode. The LG wins mostly every single time. Here showing off all the games, you can see a Plague's Tale. Look how bright it is on the LG versus the MSI, which does look a tad lower in brightness. Again, when you compare these side by side and you're gonna play on them, your eyes will totally drift to the left. It just has much more impact in SDR. Now check this out, switching to HDR mode. Before the game actually turns into HDR, it's still in SDR mode. You're gonna see a black flash on both monitors showcasing HDR on the top right corner. But you can see in SDR still, the LG holds that peak brightness advantage. What you're seeing here is about 400 nits on the left and 260 nits on the right. Trust me, it's that visual impact. If you love mini LED or high impactful monitor with a lot of color, in SDR mode, the LG wins. And before I freeze frame the next section, I do want to state, which you will see in the 32GS95UE versus Samsung Odyssey OLED G8 32-inch monitor versus the Alienware. Well yes, QD OLED does look technically better overall because that color volume, that color power can't be denied. You can easily see things like that. The LG always wins in peak highlights. In the 1 to 2 to 5% windows, LG will always beat every single QD OLED. I've tested it, and you'll be able to see that in the Versus videos coming up, but that's something that the LG w-OLEDs really do showcase, really do shine. Peak highlights. And in racing games at night, the difference is very apparent. I mean, I was shocked when I saw it and I recorded it. I'm like, man, it really depends on how you use your monitor. Peak brightness off, low, high. And that pertains to QD OLED and w-OLEDs. There is no one perfect way. So depending on what you like, when you receive any monitor, I'm sure you can tailor it to that perfect image. I try to show you real-world differences, real-world options. QD OLED does not beat w-OLED, especially in brightness, in every single game or every single scene. And you'll be able to see that in the videos coming up very soon. Please feel free to leave a comment down below if you do have a question. These monitors are very expensive, and I know you want to get the most out of these gaming monitors, so check the description as I will have my settings listed to get that maximum impact. Right here with the transition loading screen, the QD OLED in HDR mode wins easily. You can see it right here. And that's what I would say, QD OLED usually wins every single time in every HDR game I've been able to throw at it. While w-OLED, again, is perfect for those 1, 2 to 5% peak highlights. And especially in dark games, it really shows itself. Now this game is called Dark Light. Look at the world here. The contrast is amazing. There is no washed out image here. But you can totally see, the MSI on the right is brighter all across the board. Plus there's more shadow detail. Here as we go, my eyes lean towards the MSI. And even if you watch SDR content in HDR mode, you know how when you select the slider, if you put it to 60 to 80%, QD OLED wins every single time. It's just that the peak highlights, the LG w-OLED does show its power. And that's on the 27GS95QE, 32GS95UE. So if you want that peak highlight power, that difference, again, it depends on really what you do and what you're playing. The LGs are better, especially in SDR mode, that's for sure. But if you're going to get these expensive monitors, HDR should be the option you select. I mean, that's what I do. And yes, HDR is better on the MSI across the board. I mean, there's a video coming up versus these two monitors that I was amazed on that difference of QD OLED because that color pop from the MSIs at these prices. I would say the MSIs are the best monitors on the market today for HDR mode, even versus the 32 and 27. That's just being honest. I mean, I'll show you that video in due time. I just want to get this video out there because you can easily see these gaming differences. I mean, if you're going to ask me, pick one monitor, which one would you pick? I would pick the MSI. Look at that color right here with these two red lights. The color is popping. It looks so deep and bright on the MSI. The LG looks really good, but the MSI just wins. And to be honest, even from this distance, yes, the glossy monitor on the right from the MSI does look sharper, it does look clearer. The LG does have a matte coating. While nothing too crazy, to me I can see a little pearl sheen, and that's not a good thing. You don't want to see pearl sheen, because when you see a white image, like a flashlight, and they're moving slowly or when they're panning like this game, eventually you'll see those little speckles in the screen. Not like a dirty screen effect, but like little speckles. But in today's video, this is just a small portion of what I got in store for you. This is gaming, SDR and HDR. And when we're not talking about coatings, we're talking about that impact of the screen, of the actual monitor. SDR mode, the LG wins basically 90% of the time, which is a lot for your PC and next generation console gaming. While in HDR, everything is reversed. Basically, the MSI wins 100% of the time. In SDR and HDR mode, remember with the slider in HDR mode of SDR, it wins every single time on this MSI. Only with the 1, 2, and 5% peak highlights shining through on the LG, like you've seen here today. And in today's video, I choose MSI for that amazing HDR impact, that color volume, and that secret weapon, night vision. Thanks for watching, friends. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys next time.